Intelligence agencies operate in silence, away from public scrutiny, away from the headlines. But this time, India's intelligence agency RAW has been roped in at the global platform. And here the reasons are deeply political and controversial. And at the heart of this controversy lies a US report and India's strong rejection. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh and today we are going to discuss the report which has been put out by US Commission of International Religious Freedom, which says a lot about RAW and socio-cultural organization, that is RSS. But when we are talking about this report, it is much more than just a recommendation. This will be a case study when we are talking about geopolitics, where we see sovereignty, where we see human rights, and where we see foreign policy colliding. So let us begin with understanding that what exactly has happened. So an annual report by USCIRF has been released, and as per them, in this annual report, they recommend that there should be sanctions on Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS, and also our international intelligence agency, that is RAW. They have gone ahead and not just taken names, they have said that there should be freezing of RSS assets and there should be also sanctions which should be placed on India's external intelligence agency, that is RAW. Now, when we are talking about such a recommendation, which is talking about assets freeze, which is talking about visa bans, restriction on engagement, and this is coming from not our country, this is coming from a commission set up in US. This is where we get to see, yes, definitely US has singled out India and has maintained this kind of stance for long, especially this particular commission, but this is the first time that RAW has been singled out. And the problematic part here is, this is our intelligence agency. It crosses the lines in terms of autonomy, it crosses the line in terms of global stature that we have, and it shows that this is not just general criticism, this is institutional targeting, and which is a big concern for India. When this thing unfolded, immediately India has put out a strong rejection. We will be moving to that, but first we need to understand that when we are talking about this exact issue, why did this happen? And what has been the pattern around it. So when we are talking about the causes behind it, when we are talking about this commission itself, that is USCIRF, the allegations that they have put are about anti-conversion laws which are present in state, how they are problematic, the hate speech and communal polarization which is present, and the kind of restrictions that are present on NGOs and civil society. And these are the concerns which, yes, are present in our country. We do want certain reforms, but at the same time, making these concerns as a basis of systematic, ongoing and egregious violation of religious freedom is a huge allegation to be put by an external commission. But when we are talking about USCIRF, this is not coming as a surprise because of the fact India has been repeatedly placed by this commission, either in the watch list, either it has been recommended in the CPC category itself, which is country of particular concern. So India has yet again been placed and labelled as country of particular concern. But the problem, the biggest problem that we need to understand of this particular report of 2026 is the fact that it is not just about the pattern but how it has been intensified this time, because there has been naming of institution. Not just one which is just socio-cultural organization, but a state agency as well, which becomes very problematic in itself. Now, when we have a fair idea that what exactly USCIRF is presenting as a reason that why they have labelled India as a country of particular concern, we also need to understand another factor around it, that are there any deeper causes to it, or this is something shallow that is being executed by USCIRF. So when we are looking at it, there are two sides to it. When we look at the domestic factors, we do see that there has been rise in terms of identity politic debates. If you look at the legal development, especially in the last 5 years, we do have changes in the citizenship laws. We do have a lot of emphasis and spotlight on conversion laws. And yes, in the recent times, the global scrutiny around internal politics of our country has enhanced. So, which is a good thing. If there will be scrutiny, there will be tracking, then the state can always be improvised if it is in a bad state. So, scrutiny is not a problem. The problem here is that when we are talking about US's end, that is the external factor, their foreign policy also talks about human rights and what condition it is present in the country. And in that, they do factor in diaspora lobbying groups, what are they saying about it, the influence they have, and also advocacy organization. So yes, there are concerns present in our country, we would want to change them, but what US is making out of it is totally a different scenario under certain influence. And when we look at the answer that is given by India, we will also understand the context which is being painted right here. Apart from this, when we are talking about deeper cause, one big structural cause that we can understand definitely big is when we are talking about India, India is a sovereignty base which follows a governance model on it. But when we are talking about US is normative as compared to India. They have a value based, and that is where they try to lead the global order, which is absolutely incorrect if we look at the present situation. So that is why we have always seen tension which is present between both of the countries. This cannot be marked as a one-off event. But parallelly, both of these countries still stand as strategic partners. Now let us try to understand this in a simpler language. When we are talking about India, India believes what country is doing in terms of internal matter, be it religion, be it the internal politics, it is none of concern of India. India should not interfere there because India does not want interference. So, we are sovereignty based governance model follower. But when we are talking about US is like we will take care of the world. If anything is going wrong anywhere, we want to correct it, we want to condemn it, and we want to put it right. This can happen for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, because that is why I said in the present scenario this stands absolutely incorrect. But at the same time, that is why the friction exists, because India does not want to interfere and India does not like to be interfered in. And that is why there has always been a systemic tension, because they are operating against the nature of each other. Now, when we are looking at this situation, we also have to look into that what exactly has India responded in. India has clearly said that what US has brought in this report is basically distortion of the image of India, and they have slammed, they have told that this is not acceptable. They have also used the word that this is basically selective targeting, that if we are labeling India as a country of particular concern, they also need to look at the countries where Indian diaspora is being targeted. So why is that? Why are that countries not being labeled? So these are the things that have been raised from India's end, and India has also clearly said that these findings are coming from a questionable source. We remain a pluralistic democracy and there are constitutional safeguards which are present for religious freedom. So US coming out of nowhere and questioning it again and again is something that goes against the partnership that they carry, and especially name taking of a state agency such as RAW makes it more difficult in order of cooperation. Now the question that arises here is that why is this a concern? US published a report, India stood strongly against it. Why it is being talked about? As I mentioned, it is the state agency which should be operating in the hideouts, which should not be named, which operates from behind the scene, has been put on a global stage. And that is why it is a huge concern here, because we clearly see a targeting of RAW, which challenges not only our autonomy, that how India operates its own intelligence system, but it also sets a very dangerous tone for the coming times. So if this is in place and it is not condemned, it will set a precedent right here. Because of this, we will also see an impact on India-US relations, be it in terms of defense cooperation, I'm talking about Indo-Pacific, I'm talking about Quad here, and it will also have a direct risk of further friction within the strategic partnership that we hold. As of now, even though USCIRF has not shied away from labeling India CPC or targeting India, but directly putting a name is going to strain the ties in the way there is a possibility it would be difficult to recover, especially when India-US have had a difficult year since President Donald Trump has set his foot yet again. Another factor that we need to consider in terms of risk is what will happen to the economic and political factors. Because when we are talking about recommendations by USCIRF, they are talking about religious freedom is linked with trade, it is linked with defense deals as well. So this can easily lead to conditional engagements present between both of the countries. And this is also about a narrative warfare. When we are talking about the global landscape, what has happened that is lesser important, more important is what is being put forth. If you look into the narrative, as for Pakistan, every time India and Pakistan have fought a war, Pakistan has never lost. They have celebrated their losses in a way that the general public, a narrative has been set. So the narrative warfare at this present time has a huge role to play in form of soft power. So this recommendation is going to shape the global perception of India, and it is going to impact India's image that we have of liberal democracy as well. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.